All right, take a minute, take a deep breath. And let's have a centering thought. A centering thought. And this centers, of course, where you think you are. And let that be right here. So you come here. Hi. A lot of you has invested outside of this room. Families, money, cars, home, places. But you come here. Bring you here. Just for a few moments. And be reborn. Course in Miracles says, to forget your past is to be reborn. Forget your past. You come here. Come here now. All of you. All of you. All of it. Here. Now. Don't leave anything outside the room. Bring it in. Be reborn with what you have and what you are right now. Welcome to the new you. Free of your past. You are totally free without that past. It's all new now. Everything is new now. You are free. Right now. Welcome to the new you. You don't have a care in the world. Because you don't have a care. They're all new. You can start making your cares after the meeting when you go out that door. You can find things to be worried about later. Right now, there's no past, therefore there's nothing to worry about. You are completely free. Right now.
Yeah.
This is your easy choice. And when you're ready, please open your eyes. Welcome to A Course in Miracles.
I like that meditation.
Oh, that was centering.
It made me so now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What time is it? Now.
Yeah, that was so shackled releasing.
Yeah.
I felt that. I felt that.
Can you come do that for me every day?
Oh, sure. Just remember.
Well, you can make recording and give it to me.
Yeah. I should do some more of those meditation
It's
recordings.
very effective right now.
Isn't that empowering?
Integrated.
Be able to suddenly just let go of your past. And then all you've got is, fresh.
Just stop thinking, okay?
Just, yes.
Yeah, right. Feels so light and free.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let there be light. Wendy, would you turn the lights on? And
Yes.
Martin, there's a light switch behind you. Please turn to page 342 in the text. Oh, yes, there is. Yeah. Mai, would you pull some books off the shelf? Well, in chapter 16, section 5, paragraph 6. And the last word that we read last week in paragraph 5 was hell.
didn't hear the page.
342. 342. Chapter 16, section 5.
And the
Paragraph
first
6.
paragraph.
Great reading.
Does this book always meet us where we are? Sometimes we're in hell. He says, no, you don't understand. If you think you're a body, you're in hell all the time.
Yeah, because you're totally separated. There you go. That's it.
Yeah, it's a constant struggle for happiness. You're trying to earn it, or trying to run away from unhappiness, or trying to find comfort, or buy it, or marry it, or find some way to manipulate the otherwise insulting world so you can be happy for a little while. He says, that's hell.
That's how.
It's not heaven. It's not how you were made. He says, there's good news coming to you.
It's also not. It doesn't exist. It's
Yes.
just our thinking.
Yes.
It
Yes.
causes all this crap.
You got it. There's a sentence in the text, and I forget exactly where, but and it's this sentence. It's in the Iambic Pentameter. Its very nature is that it is not. Pentameter. I was showing the Course in Miracles to somebody who's a Shakespearean scholar. She taught Shakespearean classes, and she loved Shakespeare, and she knew the Iambic Pentameter, but she'd never seen the Course in Miracles. And I slid the book across the table. I said, is this written in Iambic Pentameter?
Yeah.
She just opened it up and picked out that sentence. So I've never forgotten it.
Wow.
No, a lot of it is.
Most of it.
Most of this book is. More than half of it is. Yeah, starting on chapter 30, entire chapter 30 and 31 are Iambic Pentameter, and the second half of the workbook, the whole thing.
What do you mean by pentameter?
Pentameter, it's a word count. It's like a poetic word count. Is where the words are written so that it's long, short, long, short, long, short in a series of 5. So Shakespeare wrote his sonnets that way. And Shakespeare had to make up words. Thou'st, and he made up words so that he could get his count right. And then he put it in a play, and you'd have a play written in an Iambic Pentameter. Course in Miracles is written with hundreds of pages this way. And in its regular English, you can read it, and he didn't invent any words.
Amazing.
Now, there are some double negatives and things in there, and some tough sentence structure. Yeah, there's a little fudging that way, I think. I really do. For example, if you, just for kicks, turn your workbook, somewhere into the, second, part 2 of the workbook. So, if we go to, say, page 400 in the workbook, go to page 403. Peace to my mind, let all my thoughts be still. That's lesson 221. God is with me, I live and move in Him. God is my life, I have no life but His. And if we go into the lessons, I was mistaken when I thought I lived apart from God and separate entity. Count them all out, you'll end up with multiples of
syllables, or you're multiples of fire word.
You count syllables. It's syllables. And so the count will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thousands and thousands of sentences written that way. And it is hard to write one sentence that way.
Yes.
And you might say, oh, it's just a coincidence, a few times. But when you go through 3, 4, 5 paragraphs in a row, and they're all Iambic Pentameter.
And also the way with this type of writing, too.
Right. And it makes sense. So 342, paragraph 6. Cecilia, would you read for us paragraph 6?
Sure. The special relationship,
Yes.
that one?
Yes.
The special relationship is a strange and unnatural ego device for joining hell and heaven and making them undistinguishable. And the attempt to find the imagined best of both worlds has merely led to fantasies of both and to the inability to perceive either as it is. The special relationship is the triumph of this confusion. It is a kind of union from which union is excluded and the basis for the attempt at union rests on exclusion. What better example could there be of the ego's maxim? Seek but do not find.
So, is there a better definition of hell than something where you
do not find.
seek and do not find?
No.
Be together but never get together.
Yeah.
Want to be joined but never join. And seek a type of union where union is excluded.
Oh, seek and always find separation. Guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah, seek for union and never find it. But keep seeking, it's almost there. You're almost in union. You and your loved one, almost. Keep trying. Try harder.
That first sentence says it all. The
We're
strange.
supposed to laugh when you say
You were supposed to laugh. That's right, Dick.
Joining hell and heaven and making them indistinguishable. Wow. If you're under
Yes,
worry
yes,
why
yes.
you're confused in your relationship, that's why.
Yes.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
Would the translators, would the writers change that from the beginning when the message was given to them?
The scribe did not understand.
Okay.
She did not understand this. She just wrote down what she heard.
Okay.
She transcribed and wrote, and she was an English scholar, and so she would change a few words to make it sound nicer.
Okay.
But the next day, the voice would say, "Let's turn back a page and fix what you changed."
Oh, I see.
Wow.
And she went back, and she would have to erase it and write it back out.
Because, I kid around too sometimes.
Yeah.
I toy when I thought, and said, well, this is for all high mathematics.
So indeed, a lot of this will work like mathematics because it's consistency. And the parts of you, as you start to understand this message, at first they seem to be separate parts making separate points. But after a while of study, you begin to see how the parts work together consistently. Like with pi and the circumference of a circle and the ratio of the circle and pi. At first it seems kind of a bizarre number, an imperfect number even. Who would want a number that has no finite description? And yet, when it's properly used, it gives you a circle. So this is kind of a reward. First we struggle with this odd, undefinable number. How many digits of pi are good for you? How much is your worth?
Just 2 decimals.
5 digits?
3.14.
6?
3.
3 is good enough for you?
Great.
Decimal.
How about the pause before you start with the first part? That pause. Maybe that's something.
So yeah, you'll be rewarded. If you like math,
Yeah.
if you want to have absoluteness and the simplicity of math, you come to the right place. But at first it will look very much like this goofy ratio of pi. At first it'll look kind of crazy. Now all of this understanding is not to be invented, is it? It's not to be invented.
No, because it's been there.
It's already there.
Truth.
All you have to do is be quiet with your eyes open and receive it. And enjoy the energy. Enjoy magnetism, gravity. And in this case, what we're enjoying is the healing of the mind. When we try to get an understanding of what love is, we try to be loving, we end up putting conditions on it, making demands of it.
Contracts.
Fantasies of how it's supposed to be. And what the Course says is when you try to make these fantasies of love, it may sound beautiful. It may even start with a poem and a big dinner out and some chocolate.
Oh, watch out. Might be an iambic
Even the poem might have a good count to it.
Iambic pentameter poem.
The Course says when you put fantasies on what love is like, it ends up being hell. It turns out being hell Because the very descriptions of love that you use to call love become the very prison bars that you can't get away from later.
Wow, well said, Andrew.
This is the illusions of love. Actually have descriptions. You're supposed to do this. That's how I know you love me. You said you would when we first met, and you stopped doing it. Why? Why? Did you not like doing it from the beginning? Were you lying to me the whole time? Or is this a sudden change that's happened?
I'm not free. That's the worst part, I think.
This is hell. This is hell. So the Course is going to show us, as we move into the holy relationship, how you can be free of conditions that the ego would automatically put on love. You see, the ego has to have a handle, or a word, or a catchphrase, or a certain amount of time that you give me, a certain amount of words that you say to me, or a certain amount of things that you buy me, so that I know you love me. How else would you know, says the ego. The Course says, don't fall in that trap. Don't fall in that trap. That's hell. If you can describe love, you are describing the very limits that will catch you. Yeah, good. Okay, let's read this again. The special relationship is a strange and unnatural ego device for joining hell and heaven and making them indistinguishable. He's joining hell, which is the argument, which is the fantasies, with heaven, which is release, it's infinite, it's given by your nature, by God, happiness. It's fantasizing that in a body can be heaven. That this relationship, a special union with just me and just you and nobody else, that is going to be heaven and happiness, and it's going to be we'll be blessed by God. Our union is blessed by God. He says, watch it. You're trying to mix hell, which is bodies, being identified with the body in time. That's hell. And mix it with heaven, which is spirit, sharing, infinite sharing, joy, happiness, true happiness, creativity, unlimitedness, abundance, all that is...
Creativity?
Yeah. It doesn't fit with a body. None of those fit with a body. A body is a limited entity that has to have a few liters of water per week or it dies. Turns out, what part of heaven needs water so it won't die? Okay, you got my point. We're mixing hell and heaven, okay? Next sentence. And the attempt to find the imagined best of both worlds has merely led to fantasies of both and to the inability to perceive either as it is. That's got to be one of the clearest sentences in the book. The attempt to find the imagined best of both worlds, the best of the body worlds. Let's be real close. Let's give each other massages. I'll give you a massage, you give me a massage. Is that fair? Good. Glad.
Why not? Yeah.
Good. It's fair. It's fair. I'll go first.
Yeah.
That works. In those early relationships, doesn't that work great for about a week? Somewhere on the second week, the massages aren't so popular. I'm not sure why.
Exactly
Too much work, I guess. I don't.
So,
That's exactly what happened.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's great when it starts out.
yeah, I'll tell you,
Now we get a return words after.
it's just that honeymoon stage.
Secondly.
Yeah.
That honeymoon stage?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where we want to be.
Yeah.
Always, right?
Yeah.
Forever.
Yes.
Okay.
So here is the
Now,
best.
This massage, though, I don't get that because that started in my current relationship 12 years ago,
Yeah.
and it's still ongoing.
Well, you guys are amazing.
I don't know anybody else that continues.
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Well, for a lot of people, it doesn't work out that way.
But do you both? Is it just one person giving you all the time?
Mostly.
Well, that's how it is.
How much are they charging each other?
Yes.
No, it's,
You never-
it's going one way, but it's also closes a loop.
Yeah.
Because when one is giving, it doesn't matter which one is giving,
You're receiving when you're
you're
giving.
receiving.
So you never gave up after the first year? And
No.
You just kept giving them the
No,
same?
the 12 years. So.
Wow.
Okay. So basically, you guys are looking out the same
I'm
window.
not a massage therapist.
No, but basically, you guys are looking out the same window at the same thing to get this oneness.
No, not at all.
No. Okay. I was just.
So then we have the other side, which is, so as long as the massages continue, we'll be happy. Yeah, that's a good thing. That's good. And then,
She's so lucky.
what about the unlimited nature of spirit? I mean,
That's another massage.
yeah, there's a spirit massage.
So,
Come on.
A spirit massage. Isn't that ultimately your ultimate freedom? Is in something that doesn't get a crook in the neck, doesn't need a massage, is really free. Aren't you embraced by the idea of being spirit? It says, I am spirit. And wants you to recognize that you're spirit. You're not a body. You're spirit, in truth. So all these concerns you have about being in a body, well, it's just yourself fantasizing in littleness. You're actually a lot freer than that. It's a very uplifting message. This is the ideal of, heaven. Real freedom.
That's true because I mean, to me, the body feels very heavy,
Aha.
and every time I identify myself as a body, I just don't feel free at all. I feel present always, and it's not a good feeling. So
Yeah.
you just listening to how you describe spirit, it feels different.
Yeah. Through these workbook lessons, and I got my mind off of being a body, even just for a few moments, and it was just, I could never return fully to this heavy existence again. Even though I had to, experience the body, live with the body, part of my mind is awoken. Because it just felt spacious, and I identified then with this spirit. And it just never quite went away. So I keep going back for more. I do my Course in Miracles lessons, and a little more wakes up. And a little more of my identity is on the spirit side. A little more, a little more. Mm-hmm. And it's that lightness of being that is taking over my identity. And so, yeah, just like what you said.
Well, the true nature of that feeling is supposed to be that you don't feel the body in order for the spirit to be 100%
there.
how you call it, active. If you feel the body, your body is interfering somewhere.
Yeah, well, certainly. That's any focus on the body telling you what to think or how to feel. That's correct. You're under the control of the ego. Yeah.
I always put on the mind of a seagull, a dog, like when I go running, and they have no concept of a body or whatever. So I try to think what they think.
Yeah.
But anyway, I have a course that I run.
Yeah.
I'm a runner.
Great.
But the thing is, I'm unaware that I'm running
Uh-huh.
because I'm in this kind of a zone of, I guess I want to call it spirituality or something.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Because it's really weird. It's a whole different zone.
Sure.
You really.
I'm still in the hell and heaven.
I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, it's a
I
good. I get lost
get
in
that
so
when
much in my life.
I'm in that creative place.
Yeah, it's just.
Okay, so at the attempt to find the imagined best of both worlds has merely led to fantasies of both, fantasies of what the body is, fantasies of what heaven is, and to the inability to perceive either as it is. Now, the special relationship is the triumph over this confusion. The special relationship, to actually get a special relationship, is a triumph over seeking. You get it. You're supposed to have it. If we're together and we treat each other like we have for these first 3 or 4 or 5 dates, it's going to be good. We're going to have happiness and comfort. And I'll always watch out for you. You'll always watch out for me. And we'll just be happy forever.
So wonderful at the beginning.
Sign me up.
We don't have to worry about the frailties of the body, because, whatever you need, I'll supply. Whatever I need, you'll supply me. So we got that covered. And that'll make us happy, so we don't need God or spirit. We're going to make our own spirit. We'll be the spirit as long as we're together. And you keep that massage thing going.
That's where the
There's the freedom.
that's where the
cut the
fantasy
freedom
takes
right out,
over.
right there.
And you keep
That's
cooking
why.
that chicken cacciatore like I like.
Boy,
I won't switch to that tofu you've been threatening. I want real chicken. You know
You know what?
Tofu cacciatore?
no tofu
Bought that
cacciatore.
fantasy. I bought that fantasy.
Then we'll be fine. We'll be happy. We'll be happy forever.
Tofu.
And I'll keep watering the garden like I told you I would. Don't worry, nothing will die. I'll take out the garbage. Oh yeah, of course.
So who's sponsoring this?
The separate dreaming self, the fantasizing ego who wants a heaven within the realm of the body. Because we understand the body. We understand separation, and we understand how far our arms reach, and how hungry our belly gets, and what we like and what we don't like. We understand hate just right.
Just right.
I agree not to hate you.
Just right.
Yeah, and because I love you, I'm agreeing to hate what you hate. Just tell me what it is so I can hate it.
Yes, I can hate it great.
Yeah, that's how, I'm willing to do that. Yeah. See, that's the arrangement. This is a fantasy of love. Now, the special relationship is the triumph over the confusion. See how she and I are aligning so much? We got the food covered. We got the garden covered. And we don't have confusion because we both agreed conditionally to do the right thing at the right time. So we don't need God. We don't need any other happiness. We just need to keep each other. Special relationship. It's going to do it all. It's going to supply it all.
Become that fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah. And we all know where that goes, unfortunately. Now,
To hell.
it goes to hell. It becomes hell with very specific limits. And they look like this. She put tofu in my chicken cacciatore. Any idea what it's like? It's not even firm tofu. She put that mushy tofu in my favorite dish.
Tofu cacciatore?
This is
And that's what I'm supposed to eat. And it's just it lost all its shape and flavor. And it's like, oh my God. And what happened to her? Well, I put too much water in the garden. I started watering it twice on Wednesday so I wouldn't have to water it on Friday. And I drowned her basil. And all wilted down. And that is tough because it's one of her favorite cooking ingredients.
She's mad now.
Well, she got even.
So you see, there's very specific things. She knows what I like, and she's not doing it anymore. And I know what she's like, and she says, Andrew's not showing up for me anymore like he
I
used
don't
to.
get my feet rubbed anymore.
He doesn't do his massages anymore like he used to. I think he doesn't love me anymore. So the very things that we used to make ourselves happy and complete in the beginning have become the very things which describe hate, or at least loss of love.
Things you measured with.
The things you measured with, right? We keep measuring, and the world has changed since then.
Right.
Things you measured.
Now we're going to learn in the holy relationship how to keep up with this freely and happily, and how even with
I can't
these
wait till we get
changes,
this holy relationship.
Yeah.
This is
Chapter
a little bit.
17. We're headed that way.
we're headed.
It's tough.
I know.
It's tough.
I know.
Because I'm recognizing it as my own life. It's really tough.
Well, that's the goal of the book right
I'm
now,
seeing my life as hell.
because most spiritual
We
books
get
and
onto
things,
the holy soon.
a lot of things want to jump past. They want to go right to the happy stuff, right to love, and skip over the miracle.
We have to know how miserable we are first.
We want to skip over admitting what you are personally doing for your own unhappiness.
And you can never get happy if you don't see it.
You see, the ego says it's coming from someplace else. You're not doing it. These sections and the workbook
I see.
help you catch yourself causing your own pain.
It's so
And there's no place else to look. This is a great gift of this book. And if it's all you get is that, you can derive the rest on your own. You don't need to read another page.
Right.
Because through your life, if you keep catching your part in what's going on, you will find your own freedom and you'll give it to others. If you could just get that one message, to seek no further than your own mind for what you're experiencing, you will now free yourself and others. Because they are also, in their own mind, getting what they're experiencing. And now nobody's guilty.
But what about the observer?
Okay, all he needs is popcorn.
Observer, I mean, because we misinterpret. Our logic, brain logic, always misinterprets or damage things. So.
Well, see, what the Course is talking about is there's an observer right here and now before the Course, and it's called the ego. The ego mind is observing what's called duality. One thing does something to another thing. Looks like that. This one did. We're observing the attack of one hand on the other. That's where the ego works, and the way the world is designed, is the observer observes the victimhood. And so we have time, space, gravity, bodies, etc., to enforce the idea of duality. Course in Miracles wants to become a new observer that looks at the victimizer and the victim as connected. And it is all one system. So there's really no victim or victimizer. Even though you still see this happening. Now, this is using the observer what we call Christ vision or Christ mind. So this is wrong vision. Right vision is seeing the connection, but you still see harm happening with an attack. One vision, one-minded, is now includes this as a choice.
Well, but that's the problem, that we think somebody is hitting somebody. And they're not.
Correct. There is hitting going on, and that is happening from the observer of body, mind, and ego. One level. It's the material level of being. The material level of being. And that is absolutely happening. There is one hitting another. There's blood. There might even be death. Broken bones. All that. Absolutely. Now, is there another way to see this situation? Is there another way to see the hitting, the beating up? Is there another way to see it?
Yeah. There better be. That's why we came here tonight.
The opposite of victimhood. It would have to be the opposite. It's not, thank God, it's not a good victimhood, you know.
Card from 3 years ago.
It has to be the opposite of victimhood in order for it to be free or holy or what A Course in Miracles is calling light.
The light?
Yes. See, the easy way is, that's why in this meeting, we are very specific to get down to what we think is happening. I want you to be honest in your lives that what you think is happening. Like say, victim. You know, remember we had a woman here in the father put the axe through an 8-year-old child's head, killed his own daughter. He's on methamphetamines, and he freaked out and he killed his own daughter with an axe. You know, so we just took that as a very graphic example. Just get honest. These things happen. She's in tears and she's trying to deal with it. Of what we see in the world, and we have to be able to do what Course in Miracles calls a miracle, which is not a sweetening of the axe into the girl's head. That was not the job, is to somehow make that a lesson for the whole family to not leave sharpened axes around the meth head father. Don't do that again. We learned. And God's lesson was for us to learn not to leave axes. No. No story. See, that's trying to make the victimhood situation somehow good. Right?
Courts do that. Attorneys and courts do that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. No, Course in Miracles says it's 180 degrees. It's the opposite of what the ego is showing you is what's going to be true. And that's the only place you're going to find your freedom in the ugliness of the world, is to see the opposite as being true. Now, those are just words, right? But the feeling, when you hopefully you've all had this, where you
I understand what you mean by the opposite is true.
Okay.
Can you say it more?
Yes. So in this any scenario where one thing is hitting another, there seems to be a victim and a victimizer. One thing is guilty of harming the other.
Yeah.
So somehow the opposite of that has to be true. One radical way to go at this, if there is one thing hitting itself, not one thing hitting another, not two, one.
So he actually split his own head.
Yes, there was head splitting. There's only one existence to be playing with that idea, not a victim and a victimizer. Within the one, where all is one, within that one, there is a dream of head splitting with an axe. The axe and the head are at the same level. They're the same. One of them looks like a little girl, the other one looks like an axe. And if you're at the level of materialism, it's very, very different. But if you take the opposite, which is oneness, and go to Martin's request that we all see the molecules and everything, well, there's a lot of more carbon in one than there is in the other. The girl's head has much less carbon than the axe. The axe is almost pure carbon. But one carbon object hit another carbon-filled object. That's what happened. Now, on the level of materiality and egos, we have to see victimhood and harm and loss and death. If there was a death, the little girl's life was taken away. And that's a sin, and needs to be punished, and it's guilty. All that follows if we're at the level of victim and victimizer. If we were to go to oneness, now I'll just take carbon as a vector. All I want you to do is recognize carbon, not life and not life. Andrew, are you crazy? But can anybody map to this? Can anybody map to the similarity of the axe and the little girl's head? They each have a ton of carbon in them. And the little girl, she ate something a week earlier, and it started to grow out as her hair. She ate some corn. That had carbon in it. She ate some corn with some carbon, and it came out in her hair. If you just look at it from the oneness.
Yeah, because if you bury it,
yep,
and it grows into a
yes,
flower.
Yes, that's right.
It just keeps on recycling itself.
That's
over
right.
And over.
If you take the axe and you take the girl's hair and you put them in a hole, put a flower on it, that stuff will dissolve in the soil eventually, and the flower will take the iron out of both, the carbon from both, and up comes a beautiful flower that has carbon in it. I'm just trying to get you to unify your thoughts now. All I'm asking you to do is look at carbon. Carbon. It's everywhere. In the girl, in the axe. Now, if you can just move your mind away from the loss, from the victim and victimizer, you're reversing your way you see something. It's kind of a crude example, okay?
I agree.
But if you can touch it, if you can touch the idea of the oneness, now you can start to move away from the absolute loss of one thing or gain of another.
And the emotional effects.
Yeah, it's all...
That's my question, is
what
happens with the emotion? Is because to me, that's saying that you then have no emotion about it.
The only emotion available...
And I don't hold to that.
Okay, yes. Well, very much what we're doing here is to heal ourselves from the emotions that hurt.
Right.
Okay, and so the only emotion available when a girl gets an axe in her head, for me, is pretty sad. It's horrendous. Mm-hmm. And so if that leads me, is that the truth? That there is this terrible loss? Where is the love? Where is the freedom with this loss of life? Where's God now? Where's God now? So I'm not willing to live in that world. I want to seek, I want to use my study and use this book and come to an understanding where I find extension of freedom, of a new call for love that is answered. This is the only room in my life, is that I would look at all situations and find in them the freedom. Otherwise, this world is a very depressing place to be.
Hell.
It's all hell.
Otherwise.
There's no escape. Everybody dies. Everybody dies. Nobody wins. Nobody wins. So we have to find a way to heal the way we see things. Because although that little girl died early with an axe, but eventually she was going to die of a heart attack or cigarette smoking or who knows what. It was coming. I'm going to heal my mind so that any source of what I can perceive here, that I'm not perceiving the life that this book describes when I see a body that's alive. You've got to start tapping into what does it mean to be an extension of a capital L life that appears to be in something that dies. You've got to find a way that somehow death is not real. Death is not for keeps. Death is not your inheritance.
Well, in the Tarot, death is rebirth.
There is a recontextualization where death is a passage. Not an end at all. It's a beginning. Like Mario described, with the carbon in the hole, and the corn, and the hair, and the axe, and put it all in the hole, and it's a rebirth for a flower later. It's a recontextualization. But if we stick only with the victim and victimizer, and we hold on to that, you must be sad. You must be sad. There's no life here. Life was taken permanently.
Yeah,
We gave it away.
We gave it away. We gave away life.
Yeah, I look at it like from Dante's, that book, the Hell,
Inferno?
yeah, Purgatory,
Yeah.
Paradise,
Yeah.
the Resurrection,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. The Course has a great phrase that I meditated on for hours. It says, death does not come from life. Period. See, because he knows that we watch things live and then die. So we think that death comes from things that were living. That's where death comes from. They died. Course in Miracles says, no. You've got a very poor definition of life. That it dies, that's not life.
No.
Right? So that's forever. That's what life, real life, is. Life is life. We digress a bit now, and we'll cover this a lot later, actually. We'll cover this at lesson 167 in the workbook. That's a lot later. But nonetheless, if anybody here is dealing with death right now, write down lesson 167. All right.
I didn't hear.
Oh yeah, lesson 167 in the workbook. If you're dealing with death in your life right now, check that one out.
So basically,
In the back of the book.
if you see
The back.
the oneness,
Yes.
On the book?
167, the back of the book.
everything,
It's the workbook.
Then-
160.
The workbook is the
then,
lesson.
it's like you can't kill God,
Yes.
right?
That's correct. This is right thinking.
Right.
Because now God exists forever.
Take
You can't kill
318
life.
God.
It wouldn't be life if you
318
could kill
in the
it.
back.
Exactly.
You see, life is alive.
167?
That's what makes it life.
A victim
318 in the back
allows
of the
them
book.
to triumph.
The back of the
when we
book.
think,
It's not in the workbook.
oh,
Yes.
you know,
He
death
says
is
the lesson.
Yeah,
Right.
When we go
318.
into
That's right.
that victim.
And now we're celebrating not life. We're idolizing not life, but death.
Right.
Life is alive.
Always.
There's another
Always.
300 something in the back of the book.
The spirit, life is spirit.
318 in the back. That's the
And so
front.
anything alive is manifesting
Back here.
life's spirit.
Okay.
Back.
This
When we
is
see that,
That's the front.
all
Yeah, the back.
around us.
Yes? Yes.
318.
You know, the whole cycle,
Yes.
death and rebirth and, transformation.
Yes.
And it's always happening.
It's always, always happening without end. The body's eyes will seek life and then find death.
Page 318.
Like with a girl who dies. But the spirit eyes, which I believe you're talking through now, says life is always, because life is alive. It's always happening. It can't be stopped. Because life is one of those things that is given as God Himself. God itself is life, manifesting. Just because something moves and stops moving doesn't take away life. If you take one flower and crush it, our flower's gone. They're not. One flower is certainly gone. But flowers are not gone.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Life is not gone because one life is ended.
The workbook is just this.
One representation, one manifestation of life ends, does not end life. In fact, it doesn't define life either. This is what it means to understand the absolute nature of God. Now you got to raise up our ideas that we're talking about here. When we talk about life, you are life. We talk about happiness. Let's talk about that for a moment. You are God's happiness. Because you're sad for a day does not mean you take away God's happiness. God's happiness is, and it is all the time.
Yes. Yeah, and that's it was repeated over and over again.
So if you look at it like the,
you know,
so if you look at it like through the laws of, say, like the laws of gravity, it's law,
Right.
and it's other, So once you start tapping into a different, well, not gravity, but a different, the air, this, that, whatever. So it's all in a separate category.
It's always there. And when you look at different places for gravity, strangest places, you'll still find it. The air molecules in this room each has their own gravity. And it can be measured. It's there all the time. Even though you don't notice it, it's there all the time. This idea of happiness is actually here all the time. If you choose unhappiness, let's say we're a terrible example of this poor girl with the axe. Happiness will appear to leave you. But I think we all know we're not willing to do it in front of the parents especially. Not willing to smile and say what a wonderful life she had until that axe part. That last bit was a bit rough. But the first 8 years were good. And it was a beautiful expression of life. We can't say that as clean as we'd like to. Because we've decided not to keep happiness. But happiness is actually there if we allow it. And eventually you will. Eventually we get past the sadness in our lives. And if you're an optimistic person, you'll decide out of habit or desire, if nothing else, to be happy again. Even though you had this terrible loss, after the tears dry, maybe it's a year or two, but eventually you decide you're just tired of being so sad. And happiness returns. Happiness never went anywhere.
When I first saw that was, I forget that guy's name that shot the Pope.
Yeah.
He went up to him and shot him.
Yeah.
Hey, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Remember John Paul? Yeah, I remember.
Remember when the guy went up to him and shot him?
Yeah, I remember.
When he was in the hospital, they took the bullet out and whatever. But anyway, I was tripped out. Hey, don't worry about it. You're forgiven.
Yeah, that's right. That's because that's how he wants to live.
Yeah.
He chose how he wants to live in that moment. And that's
I was
what
just like,
the idea, and I believe it really, that kind of existence was before already.
Yes.
Okay, so in which we didn't have to go through emotions or anything because these things were under control. You know the story of Lazarus in the Bible?
Lazarus, yes.
Lazarus, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because you look at idolizing, is he leading toward death or life? It's all where your focus is, and that you'll get what you're thinking.
Exactly.
If you're seeing harm, you'll feel harm. If you're seeing loss, you're going to feel loss.
Worse
The
than
emotion will follow to what you're seeing.
the worse than just the one sense.
Yes.
The senses, okay?
Yeah.
The thinking involves all of it.
Indeed. Indeed, that turns out to be the good news.
Not just what you see.
Yeah.
It's all your six senses.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what's running all those nice little sensual.
Should we go? Because Dick, you weren't here last week, so we should flip. Hold your finger here. Flip over to page 448.
Oh.
Just so Dick can.
That sounds familiar.
Dick can share a little. Yeah, I'll bet it does.
Paragraph 2.
Dick can share a little bit of what you were doing last week.
448, paragraph 2.
448, paragraph 2.
Yeah.
And he said, this is what we're preparing for right thinking. 448 in the text. We're preparing for right thinking when these words we're about to say. You got it, Mario.
What listen is that? It's page 448.
When you read these sentences that we're about to read, and they feel like freedom, this is where you're moving to right-mindedness. And the emotions of freedom follow. If you read these words and it feels like it's sequestering or bad news,
The ego hates this, by the way.
yeah, that means you really got to surrender some more. And open your mind and start doing more reading and let it sneak up on you. Because it will sneak up on you. The freedom that this book affords, it sneaks up on you. And then we wake up one day and you find yourself free of the things that used to worry you. That's how, but it works from the deep, deep levels of you and comes up. So, he says, this is the only thing that you need to do for vision, happiness, release from pain, and the complete escape from sin, all to be given you. Say only this, but
Mean. That's the word.
But mean it with no reservations. Now there's the fine print, folks. There's the fine print. And this might work for you even with some reservations. It may make you feel good for a day or a week. But if you want the healing, take this into a meditation with you someday. And work each sentence. And find the freedom that it delivers. For here the power of salvation lies. He says, I am responsible for what I see. I choose the feelings I experience. And I decide upon the goal I would achieve. And everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for and receive as I have asked. Now, if you're in the material plane and you just got hit by a train, you're going to say, I didn't ask for that train, and look, I'm in the hospital now. And Jesus is laughing and saying, train. He says, your body. What did I tell you about carbon? It's just more carbon in the train than in your body, and that makes it heavier. We're going to call this the carbon enlightenment. If Jesus is talking carbon, he says, well, some carbon, some other carbon, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? You're in a hospital bed, how much carbon is in the bed? You with me? Yeah. To him, it's all one. See? It's easy for him. You're so worried about your sack of carbon that you borrowed from the corn in the burrito and the tofu cacciatore you ate last week. That's where you got your carbon. Something else died so you could live. That's your carbon that you're so worried about getting by train today. Jesus says, come on, it's all the same. Lighten up. You're so worried about carbon. He's laughing. He wants you to laugh with him. And you will when you start to see the oneness of everything. And it's the carbon enlightenment, we're going to call it.
So,
you feeling that?
Yeah, I was thinking about something in the book that says, this year, let's make everything different by making it all the same.
Right.
That's what we're talking about now. Everything is one. Whether we evaluate, we choose form, emotional pain of this child, but it's all one. It's all carbohydrate, oxygen. It's all one. It's just our mind creating different images of what it means.
That's right.
So basically that crucifixion, that cross story, where he was nailed with those carbon,
right?
Those carbon nails,
right?
And that carbon spear,
yes, into his carbon body.
And his carbon body.
So we were all there.
Right. All the same stuff.
Yeah.
It's all the same level. We gave it some meaning.
The same as this.
We gave it some meaning. We said that his carbon body was more important than the carbon spear. And yet the carbon spear took out his last breath.
We value things differently on different levels in the ego world.
Well, at least it took some water out. He was already dead at that time, right? According to the story. The spear was a test to see if he was dead. Yeah, but nonetheless.
He was still alive.
Now look at what happens. In the second part of this paragraph, he finishes and he repeats himself essentially. He says, deceive yourself no longer that you are helpless in the face of what is done to you. If you're responsible for what you see, for the feelings you experience, and everything that seems to happen to you, you decide, that stop deceiving yourself that you're a victim to what happens to you. He says, wake up. Acknowledge but that you have been mistaken, and the effects of all of your mistakes will disappear. Now remember, if it's carbon to carbon,
then I'm doing it to myself if I'm suffering.
and you get to decide what it means.
Yeah.
That's what he means. Yes, your carbon body got hit by the carbon train. Yes, that happened. No, it doesn't mean anything but what you decide. The axe in the little girl's head only means what you decide it means.
And the feelings only follow what the mind decides.
That's correct.
It's
That's
not
where.
like
That's
we're
right.
negating the feelings.
Right.
If we choose one thought system, those feelings will follow,
Right.
which is suffering. If we choose another thought system, those feelings will follow, which
Yes.
may be just perfect peace.
Yes. Yes. There's a whole lot of love in that situation where people are crying and crying and the little girl is dead. There's a whole lot of love that really needs to be brought by somebody. Somebody please surface the love, because right now most people here are feeling hate,
So that
anger,
little girl never
loss.
died then.
Yes. She also never lived.
She was always carbon.
She was carbon. Life, on the other hand, lived. And it's still alive.
Yeah, not the little girl in the body.
Okay.
Not the little girl in the body.
The girl was never born and she never died.
That's right.
So, no boo-hoo, no.
The dream of a little girl. There was a little girl dreamed up into existence and dreamed out of existence. She dreamed up, and we killed a bunch of things. Put the pile of all the animals and the vegetables and the things that had to be killed and harvested so that she could live to 8 years old. How many things died so she could live? Somebody line them all up.
How about you?
All the chickens.
But they didn't die either, they were all carbon.
That's right. They're all carbon. They're all the same level.
Carbon?
Even once we heard it
when they
Carbon.
Yeah, and I think the whole feeling of being a victim.
Yep.
When you're being a victim, you really can't love. You know, and I
So
think
true.
if you release that feeling of being a victim,
You're hurt.
exactly. Then, if you fill that with love, then love increases.
Yes.
I mean, love conquers.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's a real element.
Yes.
Is why, why are we doing all this? It's because love triumphs. I mean, love, we're giving love room to express itself.
Yeah. That law of forgiveness does
I'm
that.
just saying because
That's why we
because the
that's
whole
why
carbon thing can also lead to somebody justifying a lot of very terrible things to happen. Oh, well, you're carbon, I'm carbon, let's go at it,
Uh-huh.
So there has to be, that's what I mean, and we have to keep the vision of why we're looking at it
I
this
like
way.
that.
Uh-huh.
And that's because love triumphs.
Yes, yes, yes.
But excuse me, what you find here in the book, that Blaze is the one that helped somebody go leave this planet.
But
not
the
the genre
world
magician.
the world that we're leaving is not out here. The world is the thoughts in our mind. That's the world.
Yep.
Well,
We're not leaving this. We're changing our world, which is the thoughts in our mind, is the world that we're leaving.
yeah, well,
We don't have to physically leave.
So we can find heaven in carbon.
yeah, but
Yes, you can, and it's much, and it's turned out to be more playful and happy and joyful to share than it is to kill. You could try killing, but it won't have that, the essence of happiness and sharing and the joy and the creation. It will have destruction. And destruction has a certain flavor to it. And the Course talks about that at one point. It talks about the murderer is not free of the murder he commits.
And he feels guilt.
He has to do the murdering part. And he has to use his aliveness to make deadness. And he's, of course, you don't escape that. It's not free. It's not free. Yeah.
Unless you don't have a conscience.
Yeah. So, anyway, so let's turn back
You know,
to page 342.
When that guy shot that Pope,
Yeah.
Pope Paul was actually telling the press he's already in his prison.
You're right.
You have to go there.
That's right, already there.
Basically.
Yes, that's right.
That's basically what
That's
I'm
right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what?
Very good.
This paragraph pretty much says, if we could do this, all our suffering is over. It says this is the only thing that you need to do for vision, happiness, release from pain, and a complete escape from sin, all to be given you. What else do you want? If we get these like 5 lines, that's the answer to everything that we want.
No matter what your eyes see, that's the answer. No matter what family
That
member
sentence says it all.
gets cancer in your life, that's the answer. No matter what happens to you and your property and your car, or if you get cancer, that's the answer. It turns out that you can set yourself free under any circumstances this world can give you. Any of them. I put this to test a few times myself. So far, so good. You can free your mind in any instant. And what happens when you do is it's just suddenly you get spacious and open, and now you're available in that situation, either to help others or to help yourself. But you're available. When you're crushed in fear, you're not available. No. If you're worried about death, you're contracting and small. And your emotions will be very dark and negative. You will not be available to be helpful to others or yourself. It just isn't fun either. It's not creative, it's not joyful, and it's not something you want to share or that you actually can share. It's not living. It's celebrating death and end and threat and littleness. Yeah. And the ego. Exactly. Yes. There is another way. And this is describing what the other way looks like.
This is it.
Yeah.
Choose the feelings that I experience.
Dick, that's kind of what we talked about last week. Just want to catch you up a little bit. Okay, now, page 342. Let's get this paragraph through. So, get this. The special relationship is a triumph of this confusion. It's a kind of union from which union is excluded. And the basis for the attempt at union rests on exclusion. Now, what that's... Yeah, we got to read that sentence again, right? Okay. She says that it's a kind of union. You know, Marcia and I are going to get together, so we're going to have a union. Just her and I have agreed how to do this thing with her cooking and then my watering the garden. We're going to be good together. And I'll do the trash too. I promise that. No, really, I should do the trash. What do you taste my cooking? Okay. Now, the special relation. So it's a kind of union from which union is excluded. We're on paragraph 6, sentence 4 on page 342, chapter 16 in the text. Paragraph 6, sentence 4. The special relationship is a kind of union from which union is excluded. See, because we're celebrating differences. In fact, we're idolizing differences, and we're kind of maintaining differences.
It negates itself.
Yes. Exactly. Union. That's very good. Okay. And the basis for the attempt at union rests on exclusion.
Wow, that's why.
Exclusively.
That's why the love becomes the hate.
Yes.
So it's built on separation and the illusion of oneness.
Yes. It's built on separate parts remaining.
We have the illusion you become one when you get married, like in the vows.
Right, right.
But it really is separation as soon as you you join in that thinking.
Yep. Yep.
As it becomes special, you're joining in exclusion. What if the wedding vows said you join in exclusion instead of in a man and woman become one?
Wouldn't be popular.
Then they wouldn't do it.
What better example could there be of the ego's maxim, seek but do not find?
How many people have experienced the seeking and not finding?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what the Course is trying to catch us on, is that the beliefs that we have surrounding the special relationship turn out to be a contract on separateness and duality instead of union.
A contract on
Oxymoron.
It's an oxymoron.
False
Exactly.
advertising.
That is the point of the whole paragraph. Very good. Would you ready to read? Should we read the next paragraph?
Break the contract as soon as you join.
Paragraph 7.
The most curious of all is the concept of the self which the ego fosters in the special relationship. This self seeks the relationship to make itself complete. Yet when it finds the special relationship in which it thinks it can accomplish this, it gives itself away and tries to trade itself for the self of another. Oh, isn't that interesting? This is not union, for there is no increase and no extension.
That's the key. Right?
What do you mean it trades itself for the self of another?
We'll talk about it.
Each partner tries to sacrifice the self he does not want for one he thinks he would prefer. And he feels guilty for the sin of taking and of giving nothing of value in return. How much value can he place upon the self that he would give away to get a better one?
There you go.
Wow.
I think, to me, the key, the big aha moment is
Yes.
where it says, this is not union, for there's no increase and no extension. Because a true union is inclusive, and it increases love.
Yes.
You know. Right?
Yes.
Ultimately.
Two holes.
Mm-hmm.
Two holes.
Yeah.
Double up.
Love is extended.
Right.
It's a big sharing. It's an empowering.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always more, not less.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it turns out what we actually do here is we're trading a piece of ourself we don't like a whole lot for what you got.
Oh,
You make me stronger. And I'll show up, but what I really want is what you can do for me. Make me whole, make me
that's
complete.
on you were the strength when
But
I was
isn't that
weak.
okay?
You
In
were
a
the
way?
eyes where I can't see.
I mean, if it's clear, if it's a clear contract that, well, you do this because you're good at it, and you do this because I'm good at it, and, without,
Well, not a contract. It
It's a symbiotic.
has to be freedom, not contract.
Work.
Contract is-
yeah, because it works.
It's not
The
freedom.
reality is that that's how things work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine, as long as it's, as long as you're still loving, I
Yes.
would imagine.
Well, I think it's a greater
You see what I mean?
paradigm within
Yeah,
that
because,
exists.
because
Yeah.
yeah,
That's the difference. That's
I mean,
Yeah.
there are things
Yeah,
that
it
my
is.
husband can do that I can't.
But what
do,
happens
and
when
I
he
can-
stops doing that?
No, Marcia said it. What the freedom comes from looking at the whole union and not your half and my half. My part, your part. It's our one part.
Yes, all the divisions of labor and the agreements, and I'll do my strength, you do yours.
And what happens
That
when
all
he stops
exists,
doing
but
it?
then what the trick is, what's the bigger picture within which that exists?
Yeah, when you get your eyes on that, you're okay. Even if one of us has to do everything for a week.
Yeah.
Whoever's more
I gotta
capable
cook.
at that time.
I gotta clean. I gotta take the kids to school.
At that time.
But you know what?
Time. Not previous agreements.
Our place is clean. The food is cooked, and our kids are at school.
Because it's like doing it for the greater good. the
Right.
greater
Exactly.
goal.
Right. But if I bitch and moan, you didn't do your half.
Right. Okay.
You were. I know
That's
you're.
real clear to me now.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Now there's going to be score kept for the entire relationship,
Oh, wow.
and I want to do something for you, because now you'll think I'll always do this for you.
So the shoe
That's
never
the
really
ego
fit.
keeping count.
You should ask me, and then I'll do it.
Well,
Right.
it's the
It's always
perception of,
Right.
I'm doing this for you, and I need this from.
Or I gave more and you gave
And
less.
so there's all these conditions.
And
then
most
you have
marriages
those
fall into that,
constraints.
right?
Right.
Look at how much I do, and look at
It's
what
not
we
gonna.
do.
It's bound to.
That's
Right.
what
We haven't had that one come up yet. So.
Yeah, yeah.
most
Now, let's read this paragraph backwards because it'll offer a lot of insight. Yeah, maybe not that backwards, but we'll read it from the bottom to the top. And I think it'll be, unless somebody's so talented, you can actually read it backwards. Marcia, that was a pretty good try. Okay. How much value can a person place on a self that he would give away to get a better one? That's how much value place something you give away. Look, I'll give you this for something else. Anything, whatever you got is better than what I'm giving you. Please. There's not a lot of value. You give up something. Okay? And this person feels guilty for the sin of taking and giving nothing of value in return. Robert, you were so very good to me. Wait till you find out that what I gave you was worthless. I mean, I'm trying to be nice to you, but I'm not a very nice person. One day you're going to find out. But you sure were nice to me. Sucker.
Sucker.
Sucker. Exactly what someone just told me.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
This happens. Okay, this is a special relationship. It happens. So I feel a little guilty for receiving. You were so nice to me, but I was faking it. But you were nice. But I feel a little guilty. Okay, yeah. Each partner tries to sacrifice the self he does not want for one he thinks he would prefer.
That's so preposterous, isn't it? Really? Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, how can a thought like that even be contrived in what we're dealing with, what we're talking about here?
So people are always
It is
attracted
so
to what
sick.
they're
I mean,
missing.
it's
They
so
think they're missing
upside
themselves.
down.
Well, no, it's honest. From the ego's perspective, I'm not responsible for what I see and what I think and what I feel.
Yeah, right.
If I'm lonely and tired, I'm not responsible for that. You fix it. When I'm with you, I don't feel lonely. So I'm going to bring my loneliness into your presence. I won't feel lonely. I hope you don't feel lonely too, but my first priority is I don't feel lonely. So let's do that.
Does it rub off on me though? It does though, right?
Someday, you might feel lonely yourself, and I'll feel lonely at the same time, and you won't be giving me this sort of comfort that I've expected of you, because you're in need state.
You're both in need state, then you're screwed.
Yep, we're not looking at the whole. We're not looking at the
Then all of
whole.
a sudden the relationship isn't working. You change. You're not what you promised to be.
Yeah, my part hurts.
So one person will feel like the hostage of love.
Yeah, that can happen.
Or both.
Yes.
Or just alone.
Uh-huh. Or overburdened. Yep. Now, next sentence up.
Alone. We don't.
Okay, so first, all right, next sentence up. This is not union. For there's no increase and no extension. If I bring my half over to and try to make something that feels whole, there's not an increase. There is a satisfaction. At least I don't feel lonely when I'm with her. This is not how real sharing operates. It's not how real love operates. It's not how the holy relationship operates. The Course is just trying to point this out. Okay. Yet, when this false self finds a special relationship in which it thinks it can accomplish this, it gives itself away and tries to trade itself for the self of another.
I want from you what I don't have, that kind of thing.
Yep. You're so organized and you're responsible and you really care for people, so
You're a giver, I'm a taker.
I'm going to be with you.
It's like Swiss cheese when somebody else feels the whole.
Oh, God.
Yeah. This supposed self, right, this false self, seeks the relationship to make itself complete. In the first sentence, most curious of all is the concept of the self which the ego fosters in the special relationship.
So there's no truth to soulmate then?
No.
Right. Not the way that we paint it out in this world, that's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That there's some match that makes you whole. Right.
But in any way, there's such thing as a soulmate in anything.
Well, there is in the way that we dream of, a oneness, but it doesn't happen with two individual pieces becoming one. It happens with one recognizing oneness.
Okay. Recognizing.
Now that is a true union or right thinking. And now it isn't with a special relationship where my soulmate, this one person, that person, when we're together, we're holy. No, it's you are holy with every other being, every other thing. You recognize your extension happens instantly as you open your mind to it. That's an extension that goes out in all directions with all things, animate or inanimate, it doesn't matter. It's an inclusiveness with a capital I. That's the actual experience of soulmate that we're dreaming about with one special and another special.
I see.
That's how I saw it. I could see it the other way. I'm like,
So we love everything the same.
yeah.
So we have just enough time. In this paragraph 8 goes together with the other two we read. Let's treat them all together and work our way through it. So Dick, you want to read that paragraph 8 for us?
It says, the better self, the ego seeks, is also one that is more special.
Same.
And whoever seems to possess a special self is loved for what can be taken from him. Where both partners see this special self in each other, the ego sees
Here it comes.
a union made in heaven. Oh. For neither one will recognize that he has asked for hell, and so will not interfere with the ego's illusions of heaven, which is offered him to interfere with heaven. Yet, if all illusions are of fear, and they are, and they can be of nothing else, the illusion of heaven is nothing more than an attractive form of fear, in which the guilt is very deep and rises in the form of love.
Wow.
Whoa!
We have to realize.
We got to be healed from this maneuver.
We have to be aware that we're in this trap before we can get out of it, right?
Right, Wendy?
That's why it sounds depressing, but if we can't observe that that's our life and that's what we're living and what we're choosing every day, then we have no key to get out of it. No aha. I mean, part of it sounds depressing to me because it's my life. But then again, it's like in there is also the key for me to get out.
Yep. Fear not to look at the special hate relationship, for the meaning of love lies in it.
Wow.
Yes. So this is kind of redundant with what we already read. The better self that the ego runs to is always one that's more special, one that's worth giving up yourself to. And whoever seems to possess a special self, well, they're loved for what can be taken from them. What they can do. What can you do for me? That's why I love you. What you can do for me. This is not love. Turns out, it may be a little dance that we can do together. But the kind of love that you want to really celebrate and keep giving doesn't look like this, where you give up the stuff that I want and I'll give up the stuff that you want. Without me, you don't have it. You need me so that you can be happy. And, good news, I need you so I can be happy. Union made in heaven. We both agree we need each other. It seems good.
Right.
It's good for a little while. But the problem is that we've just described how you can hurt me the most.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And guess what? I admitted it.
Yeah. What do you mean you admitted it?
I told her what I needed from her.
Yeah.
Now when she's unhappy with me, she knows exactly how to get to me. Okay, there we go. So the better self the ego seeks is always one that is more special, and whoever seems to possess a special self is loved for what can be taken from him. Where both partners see this specialness, the special self in each other, the ego sees a union made in heaven, for neither one will recognize that what he has asked, neither one will recognize that he has asked for hell. Is that clear enough? Whoa! Your beautiful matrimony, where each of you are offering so the other can be happy, the Course is claiming, look out! This turns into hell. This isn't a holy relationship. It's the Swiss cheese relationship that's got holes in it, and you're trying to fill the holes. It's the wrong kind of holy, folks. Thanks, Marcia. Leverage that thing. I think about food a lot when I talk to you. I don't know why.
So basically, this whole marriage thing was just a big scam to promote, businesses.
Of course. What else?
Well, it goes no.
What is the whole system up to?
No, it goes,
Same thing.
yes,
The
yeah,
whole system.
yeah, yeah. The whole system, Dick. The whole thing. All right, it goes back to accountability. You got twisted. All right, now. Neither one will recognize that he's asked for hell. Certainly won't admit it. And so he will not interfere with the ego's illusion of heaven. The ego's illusion of heaven is we're together. It's perfect. Which it offered him to interfere with actual heaven. Now what we're going to learn is you could still have a relationship with a man and a woman, or with yourself and your dog, or you and your apartment, you and your car, doesn't matter. These are all special relationships. You can still have these relationships where you're actually celebrating life instead of slowly draining the life out as you slowly give your life to it. This is the difference we're heading for, folks. We're going to heal our minds. We're going to heal our minds. Now, this is tough stuff to read through. I know it is. Now, yet, if all illusions are of fear, and they can be if nothing else, the illusion of heaven, even the illusion of heaven, is of fear. So I can be happy, which actually means so I cannot be lonely. Do you see? In the special relationship, I'm going to go join together with not so I can be happy, it's actually so I cannot be lonely. That's a big, big difference.
And that's what you get in the end.
If she's insecure, she wants to be with me, not so she can be secure, so she can no longer be insecure. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
We're each trading something we don't have, so we can get from the other. Do you see that? That's hell. That's hell. It's hell. Okay. Now. All right. I tell you, this is tough stuff to go through, isn't it? It's really, it's personal. This is personal.
It's looking, what is that song? Looking for love in all the wrong places.
Right. Yes. There is a better way, I promise you. There is a better way. And it is in your own mind. In your own choices, we'll find this better way. This will be a guide. This will guide us step by step to freeing our minds to the better way of living in all situations. Even if you are in a codependent relationship right now, there's still a better way to look at it. Okay, now, yet if all illusions are of fear, there can be of nothing else. The illusion of heaven is nothing more than an attractive form of fear. Having a nice relationship and a comfortable cottage down by the sea, it's just a wonderful illusion of fear. So I won't lose and you won't lose. We'll keep up this dance. You see how different that is than sharing wholeness. So that I can give my abundance and you give your abundance, and together we'll watch the whole circle that Marcia was talking about. Now, no matter what happens, we still have a whole sharing. We're sharing the whole circle versus trying to keep our needs met. Do you see the difference? Mm-hmm. One has a cost, the other one has only gifts. By that I mean, if a little shack falls into the ocean on Monday night, well then that's what we have together. Our gift is getting out together. There's still one. You see the difference? Okay. So, wow. The illusion of heaven is an attractive form of fear in which the guilt is buried deep and rises in the form of love with a small L.
It's in quotes, by the way.
Yeah, it's in quotes. So, rises in the form of false love. Lisa, because you agreed to be with me, and I agreed to be with you, through thick or thin, good or bad, till death do us part, that's how I know you love me. Oh, there's got to be a better form of love than that contract.
Oh, God, yes.
And that's what we're going to be. Joking, divorce papers. Woo!
Yeah. We think we got it, but it really it's not that way.
Yeah.
It's really not that way.
Yeah, because and
Yeah.
I'm finding out that my five senses
Mm-hmm.
tie in with my whole thinking process.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Runs it.
I don't know.
In your spiritual awakening, you will get to what allows that taste, sense, smell, sight, all of them, to have any impact on you. Mm-hmm. There is this, we called it awareness earlier. There is the dreamer of the dream that dreamed up the sense of smell. When your spiritual awakening happens, you will start to identify with that which is the dreamer of the dream rather than that which is dreamt in the dream. If you can smell something and you're waiting to find out what it smells like until you are that which is inside the dream.
Okay. And that's with all the senses, with the hearing.
That's correct. You're identifying as a victim now. When you smell something, you're a victim to what it smells like. Is that true?
Yes.
You didn't even know what it smells like until you smelled it. That's how you know you're a victim to it. Mm-hmm. That's a sign that you are identifying with a character inside the dream that does not know. Rather than the dreamer of the dream that is orchestrating it all.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is that if I didn't smell it, then I would be outside the dream?
If you were both the smell and he who smelled it,
Oh, I see.
you would be awake.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the end of duality. That's a union of smell and smeller.
Yeah.
See that? Otherwise you got victimhood, you got guilt. The smell is guilty of making me smell
So,
raspberry.
so do you have to be one with
Right. Cause and effect are separated in one and they're not in the other.
Okay.
That's an awakening. Very good.
So cause and effect, you have to see it all as one.
Yes. When you see that cause and effect are not separate, but the effect exists because of the cause, and it's actually the cause extending. There is no effect. There is only cause. Now you've returned to source and to the truth of all things. And if you Now, if you take that all the way, you're no longer an effect of God. What are you?
You're part of the ego system.
Now you're done. Now you're done.
Yeah.
Take that into your meditation with you. The ray is not separate from the sun. It is the sun expanding all the way to you. That's how big the sun is. It's not a little ray that happened to bounce off your face. That's the sun brushing you. The sun reaching out and touching you. It's one sun.
Yeah, it's kind of like, when I'm dreaming that I'm smelling something, and I can smell it in my dream, and I'm looking at myself smelling this thing, and I'm actually the dreamer looking at myself dream.
Yes!
Yeah.
Now that is a way to know the entire and enjoy the entire experience. To only be one half of that is one half, at best.
So you're saying to be the observer of all our thoughts?
All thoughts, not just half of them, the effect half.
And that it's not us, we're just watching.
Be both sides. Be both sides. Allow yourself to be both sides. If what you see is two sides, cause and effect, share with the cause and the effect and see them as one.
So, give me an example to be the other side, not just me observing my thoughts.
Well, you would not be a victim. You would be receiving your own gift of whatever happens to you. The smell, for example. Well, this is the existence of whatever you're observing. Say raspberries. Or as maybe somebody's yelling at you. Some other person. Don't see that other person is coming at you. See the extension of that person as also being the extension of your freedom. Your existence. Be the dreamer of the dream. Watch what you've decided to be. Rather than be a victim of one half of the equation only.
Yeah.
Then you have to hurt. You have to hurt if you're only receiving the blow. But you have to celebrate if you see the dance of the blow and the receipt. That was like life. Life is very violent. Life gives exactly as much as it takes. If you only identify with what's taken, you must be very sad. But if you can see the giving and the taking, the lion eating the zebra.
So how do you see the person yelling at you? What could you see them as?
You see this as somebody who is actually reaching for love in an ugly way. But the most important thing is, you can't control, in this scenario, we're already so deep into it, you can't control what the other person does, but you can control what happens to you. How much of the taking or the loss, how much are you going to identify with? Are you going to see yourself as less because of this? And if you do, guess what? You will be less. Because all your dreams come true. Your dreams come true. Those are your prayers. Each thing you think, as you start to recognize how powerful you are, that is a prayer. And all your prayers are answered. If you see anger, you will absolutely feel the effect of anger. If you see a call for love, you will start to open your heart and you will start to see love reaching in an ugly way. But it's an honest way. It's the only way it can. Now it's reaching with angry words and four-letter words. Right? Four-letter words.
Fear?
Fear.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So you will absolutely get what you see. So what we're learning here, page 448, is recognize that and now change what it is you're choosing to see. If you get it off of the fear bandwagon, and there's only one other choice, folks. That's what makes it easy. There's only one other choice. Get off the fear bandwagon, and you're only left with love. And you'll start to see it with the filter of love. And the louder they're yelling, the more love they're asking for. And how powerful love do they expect? It's really much worse when they're dead quiet and they're not making any noise at all.
That's true.
I agree.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
So let's have a circle. Yes, my dear. extra hug. Take a deep breath. And here you are, once again, right here, right now. Here you are. There is not one thought that comes to you from outside of you. There's not one pain that you can ever feel that comes from outside of you. This is the good news. Remember this forever, for the rest of your days in this body, which is so sensitive to so many pains of the life. You need not experience suffering. Indeed, there will be pains, but they only hurt when you see them as harmful and as long as you hold on to that thought. In any instant, you can just breathe like we did in the beginning. Release that judgment and find yourself right in the present moment. In love and your freedom and the simplicity of what you actually are will be waiting for you right there in that moment. It's free, it's abundant, it's permanent, and it feels great. Choose peace. Amen.
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 Tough one, folks. Thanks for hanging in there. These are tough paragraphs.
How we keep it coming back to this. These are tough paragraphs.
Thank you. Thanks for hanging in there. Robert.